You were liking my dancing that
I
I was
was
doing over at the coffee shop.
Like isn't the word for it. I mean, just utterly entranced. Now with the squeak, it's even better.
Hey everybody, welcome to Massive Chalice, Teamstream number 22. It's hard to believe that we've done 22 of these.
22 of these.
Well, we've done 21 of them. This is actually number 22. So, yeah, shocking. But, hey, we're going to be talking about the video game we're making. Thanks for backing. Thanks for letting us make this video game for the last year. So we had a hard time, I had a hard time trying to find someone to help us write the game.
Right.
Because we work at Double Fine, and that's one of the reasons why I came to work at Double Fine was because we have a really good writer here. His name is Tim Schafer. You might have heard of him.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. The other good writer that we have here, right? Yeah. But Tim is really busy, so I didn't know coming to work here 10 years ago that I was going to be able to make my own game, and then I thought that Tim was just going to write everything, and I was going to work on his games, and crazy stuff happens. I don't know.
Yeah, it's cool though.
So now, I'm not a writer. I'm a really bad writer. It's good to know your limits. It's good to know your limits. And so we kind of went on a search to find someone to help write the game. And we sent out a call to some of our friends and industry colleagues and stuff. And just made a really brief writing test, which was, these are really bothering me. I'm going to use these later. Really brief writing test, just being hey, dialogue sample for the Chalice dialogue. There was a random event sample for come up with a cool random event scenario that'll just be all text. And then naming items in the game and coming up with descriptions for them and stuff. And we sent it out to 5 or 6 people, and all the responses were really amazing. They were all really, really good.
That was a tough pick, man.
And yeah, it was really difficult. But eventually, the one that we went with are Max and Nick Folkman. They're these dudes that I met at Indiecade a while ago, and they're big gamers, but they live in LA, and they're in Hollywood. They're big movie nerds, and they're trying to break into Hollywood, and so they're writing and directing shorts and working as APs on stuff and whatever. But they're huge into video games, and they approached me after something at Indiecade when I was down there last year, and they're just really cool. Just hanging out with them, and I think they're really smart, funny dudes. And their submission was really good. And it's kind of a 2 for the price of 1 deal. Yeah. They're probably watching this right now, right?
I would imagine so.
But it is they're both working on it, and it's awesome. And so we're gonna talk to them about the process. We haven't been working with them for very long, but they're doing a great job. Writing the dialogue for the game is the first big focus. Yeah. And so we're just gonna call them up on Skype and hang out and talk to them. And it's going to be super sweet, and we hope that you enjoy it. And if you have questions for them, please feel free to spam those at Anthony, and everything will be cool. So now is where I put the headphones on.
Boom. Yeah.
Wait, did Skype just gave me an advertisement? Yeah!
Hey guys.
Yeah! Hey dudes. Welcome to Massive Chalice Teamstream 22.
Thank you for having us.
Good to have you on the show. This is, oh my God, this is almost just like Teamstream 21 now, I feel.
Yeah.
With our big dumb Tonight Show thing. But thanks for joining us on this thing, and thanks for agreeing to write this video game with us. And how are you feeling right now? How's everything going?
Feeling pretty good because you're watching that was a great introduction.
Oh, well, thank you. But you guys deserve it. Everything's going well. Also, can we get a better shot of this Rocketeer poster, because that's what's really important.
That's a sweet poster.
That's actually why we hired you.
That's why we hired.
Also, I just realized it says summer 1991 down there. Oh man, that makes me feel really old. But hey, I just thought I would start by doing a little mini interview with you guys. So how long have you been in Hollywood, in LA? Doing stuff?
We graduated in May of 2010, and we moved out here in August or September. So we've been working on and off in the film business since then.
The film business.
It's like 4 years.
Sounded like
Yeah,
an
so almost
awesomely professional answer. So what have you guys worked on that the viewers at home might be familiar with?
You could say. I worked on, one of the movies I worked on was The Purge. The Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke is a very cool dude, so I can say that definitively. And Lena Headey is awesome. And then I worked on Parenthood, the TV show, for a while, even though I've never actually seen the show. But that was amazing because I like to hang out with Craig T. Nelson.
Yeah.
Wait, that's Coach, right? Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. And then Nick worked on a movie for David Mamet, who's a really famous playwright.
Yeah.
His 18-year-old daughter's first movie she acted, wrote, and directed.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah. And then we worked on a ton of stuff that has very small release that is not worth talking about.
Sure.
Like pilots that haven't come out, will never come out, and just a lot of shorts, and one other feature that came out in one theater.
Sweet, sweet. Also, you guys directed your first short, right?
This is our first real show with the crew. We made it in January on 35mm, which is awesome, and our crew is awesome. And we just finished it, we think, this past week. So we're pretty psyched.
That's awesome.
And we posted on the internet for everyone to see, but we're submitting to festivals, and they require that we don't put it on the internet for everyone to see, at least not until it's screened there. So, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Share it if we could.
Good luck with that thing. And when will that happen?
Festivals, you find out like probably at the end of the year. So
okay.
Yeah.
So
if you ask nicely, we'll send it to you. Just don't tell.
So next year though, we'll post it on the forums and everybody can be.
Yes.
We've seen it.
Yeah, I got it.
We've seen it internally.
Sneak peek.
Because I don't know. I feel pretty privileged. It's sweet. But where did you guys go to school?
We went to school at the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities, which was very apt, and we didn't realize it until we got there. Our major was studies, or what?
It's actually 2 cities.
Yeah. It's Minneapolis and St. Paul, and we were there for film, but the program sucked, so we went to New Zealand instead for a study abroad, and that was way better.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And I know that you guys have stories of New Zealand adventures as well.
Yeah. So many. Almost got to work on The Hobbit when Guillermo del Toro was directing it, but then he left, and then our visa expired, and so we couldn't do it.
Man, that's like, I totally would have loved to see the Guillermo version of The Hobbit. Like, I think that would have had a lot
We'd
more.
all need therapy if he directed that.
Yeah, I think so too. There would have been a lot more like eyeballs in weird places and like anuses and like weird. I don't know. I totally love that guy.
And also not 3 movies.
And also not 3 movies, right? They're really stretching. We're really dedicated. We're really dedicated to making the most out of this thing, right?
We got massiver, and massive.
Yeah, massiver Chalice and then massivist Chalice, I guess, is the way to go. So we met at Indiecade last year. Is that right? Indiecade
Yes.
13, where like
No, it was 2012.
It was 2012?
You weren't here last.
God. Time really flies.
Yeah.
It flies fast. But that was super cool. And you guys came up to me and you were like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, you guys are really tall.
Yeah, then we mentioned Alter Echo.
Yeah, that's right. And you
said,
guys had played, because that's my gag is that I always tell people that if they played Alter Echo, I'll buy them a drink. And you guys were like, we played Alter Echo. I was like, all right then, like let's go find a bar. And then we got some beers and just kind of like, just talked about random stuff. And it was awesome. So, and it was love at first sight, I would say. But yeah, I'm trying to think of any other cool things that happened then. What other?
You came back to LA for E3. We hung out a little bit then. We saw Man of Steel.
Oh yeah, that's right. We saw Man of Steel.
I was there. That was really fun. And who walked by
E3
us?
last year.
Didn't a star walk by us?
Dominic Monaghan.
Yeah, that's right. That was
I don't
so
know who
fun.
that is. Who is that?
He was the guy. He was in. He was one of the Hobbits.
He was in Lost. He's also Pippin.
Yes.
Thank you. I
Okay.
can't think which one. Yeah, that's right. He was in Lost and the Irish rocker.
He looked grizzled. He looked grizzled. I remember that.
Did he? Oh, really?
He's really good at looking grizzled, I think. It's
kind of his thing.
That's kind of his deal, yeah. Do we have any questions from the chat?
Someone said, ask them what they think about Hulk. I don't know.
What do you think about Hulk?
Like, in what meaning? Like, Hulk's
let's just go with the Ang Lee Hulk.
I like Ang Lee's Hulk more than the other Hulk movie. Like, I like that it tried to do something different, and even though it's bad in a lot of places.
Yes, it is.
But like, I will happily take Eric Bana Hulk fighting a cloud than the like boringness of Incredible Hulk.
Or even just in the last scene of Ang Lee and Nick Nolte just screaming at each other for 2 minutes.
Eric Bana, yeah.
Eric Bana.
That's super weird. That was Nick Nolte was the bad guy in that, right? What a bizarre thing that was.
Surreal.
Oh man.
Someone in the chat just said Solar Blitz, our old buddy. Said,
Oh, Solar Blitz. Hey man.
His take on it, his take on Man of Steel, 1 part news reporter, 2 parts Dragon Ball Z. Because like that's kind of what that movie felt like after a while. Like goose. Here's
There was so much Dragon Ball Z in that. I had never really thought of it that way.
Like yeah.
Technical adjustment. Look at this on the fly. You know that this is live.
Yeah, that's right.
Paul Levering, ladies and gentlemen, 2-player production.
Exactly. The most beautiful man here. What level of prevalence? Okay, I gotta ask this because we have the writer. See, this is our fans trying to infect you to get you to rise up against Brad. Valiant Cheese asks, what level of presence are we going to see of B mounts in this lore? B mounts.
So I was in the chat before the stream started, and I saw that question being raised, and I still have no idea.
Man! Oh no! Yeah. I should have warned you because true Massive Chalice fans know all about B mounts. That was basically like during the Kickstarter, right? It was some dumb. Yeah, it was a dumb joke about like, will there be mounts in the game? And we were like, well, they can't be horses. And then somebody threw out that they should be bees.
Yeah.
So I don't know why it's stuck. It's just one of those like dumb things where we talk about bee mounts.
It's stick in the mud Muir, not allowing
any fun
in the game.
No fun.
It's how it rolls. But actually, he did have a serious question, from Valiant Cheese as well. How long have you guys been working on Massive Chalice?
It's been 2 years.
2 years?
No, it's only been, yeah. So it's been like 6 to 8 weeks, ish, I would say.
But a lot's been high output for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah,
man. I got a lot going on already.
Yeah.
Almost done with the first draft or first pass on all the dialogue. All the spoken dialogue.
So yeah, we can get into that a little bit, like the process that we've been going through for it. And like May was all about like just trying to get the backstory and the world kind of like built out as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's weird. Like we were talking earlier about like how do we talk about this stuff? Like we've been like really open with all the development of the game, but it feels like so many aspects of the fiction and the backstory are going to be things that are either not talked about in the game proper, or they're like super spoilery. Like we don't want to like unveil these things. So I think we should try to talk about it where it's not like giving away all of the like cool backstory and stuff that's going on. But
well, honestly, it's like the only thing that we can keep as a spoiler, because like we show everything else of our gameplay. Like at least with the writing and the story, you can just choose to show a tactical map, which in a vacuum gives you no context to the story. So it's like the story is like your last bastion of like, what can we keep secrets? And you got some humdingers coming, huh? I don't want to bring an old man saying it.
I think there's some really good backstory and fiction that we developed for the Chalice and the Ruler, and what the cadence is and where it came from and these things. But we want them to be like pretty mysterious. We can't talk about like the actual beginning of the game. I think that's like not really a spoiler.
Yeah.
Do you want to walk through walk us through the like kind of opening cutscene and like the beginning and like the setup, I guess.
So
I'm totally putting you on the spot. This is awesome. I want to see you explain it back to me and see if it still makes sense.
So the beginning of the game is right now the way that it was written out is it would start in complete darkness, and you would just hear the Chalice speaking as it's about to wake you up. And it doesn't know that you've woken up yet. And then your eyes would open, and then you would see the throne room and everything in front of you, and all from your perspective. And you'd heard the Chalice talking, but you didn't know it was the Chalice. And so you were looking around trying to wonder who was talking. Then the Chalice would begin to speak and trying to introduce you to this world and who you are. But then the battle that opens the game that you've shown before starts, and so they have to rush things through and quickly go through all this setup that we kind of, it solves a good problem because it's a lot to set up in the game, so we can just have an excuse to go through it quickly.
Right.
And the best way to get through exposition is that they're yelling at you.
Yeah.
Is that we found.
It is tough though, because there's a lot to explain. Like so the ruler is basically like the direction that we went is that there's this that the chalice is constantly overflowing, and there's this river that kind of runs towards you. And the idea is that it's the ashes of all of the kind of like great past heroes from all these houses, and they kind of like dump them into this river, and it all kind of like, they all like mix together, sort of, right? I mean, this is like the original story, and this was great talking about it, was like there were a couple of things that I wanted to get here. One was like trying to spoof the RoboCop scene where he's like put together, where it's all first person, and we decided maybe keeping it first person is fine, but we like don't necessarily want to like riff off of that too hard. But then also trying to get, there was a really old idea that we had of like what if the ruler is kind of like what if they exhumed a bunch of bodies and like threw a bunch of body parts into the chalice, and then like that actually made the ruler. But it's like so gross and weird and twisted and dark. And I can't remember, I think it was you guys had the idea of like, oh, maybe it could just be the ashes. It could just be like the cremated remains of heroes, and they just dump them in there, and it's like, oh, and it's kind of abstract. Derek came up with a really cool visual for this too, like where there will be all these colored flower petals that are like the house color. So the ashes are like, you know, they're all gray, but when they dump them in there, it's like you get these all these different like flower petals in the river, and that kind of represents like all the houses coming together to like form this one person, right?
Derek also came up with the river idea in the first place.
Yeah, and mostly like because it's a badass visual, but but it also,
and it's because of the problem of how do we, because the ruler does not move in the game.
And it can't leave the throne room.
Yeah, so how can we show that without, because there's so much exposition already in the game, how can we show that visually without having to really explain it?
And so, that river represents like your tether to the chalice. It's like, that's the thing that is like the source of your immortality or whatever. And that's, I think that will be very clear with like that visual, and I think it's going to be really good. There was also like, we talked a lot about like, why do they need the ruler? You know, like why are you even needed? Like if the chalice is the magical thing that knows how to solve all the problems and stuff, like why are you actually needed?
And it also helps, the ashes thing helped with that, just because it shows that the world has a stake. Like the people, at least like the major bloodlines, have a major stake in like helping. So they show that by putting their entire bloodlines, combining together to create your ruler, so that they can have someone to trust. Who fights for them, and not just like trusting this chalice.
Right.
So that's why the ruler is needed, because there's two main reasons. I know we had others too, but those dropped off. The one reason was that to sort of acknowledge the ridiculousness of a massive chalice, that the people won't listen to it.
Right.
But because it's a massive chalice, why would they trust it?
Yeah. Like why? Yeah. It's a big talking cup with two voices.
It's like the claw from Toy Story, like the claw. That's why it's the chalice, you know.
Like why would you?
Yeah, why doesn't know about battle or anything? Yeah. So that's why they would create a ruler from all the bloodlines, and also because
they needed a tiebreaker in case like the chalice can't decide.
Because the chalice is argumentative all the time in the game, as you'll find out.
Right, because we try to have the two personalities of the chalice be sort of like at odds with each other a lot of times, not in like a real negative like bickering or like antagonistic way, but they're opinionated. I think that's a great way of putting it. Like they're both likable characters, but they're opinionated, and given different situations that are like morally ambiguous, one is going to take one side and the other is going to take another side, and then you as the ruler, you're kind of like the tiebreaker. You're the final. You're the decider.
Yeah,
you know?
Decider.
And and I think that's cool. I think that gives us a nice reason for like the player to exist, and it gives you a lot of agency, and just like making sure that the populace trusts this person that was created of their own blood, basically.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so that's sort of like why you're in charge. Also, like, you're immortal. Like, it's totally fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, and there was another thing we decided, and we're not sure if we can pull it off, but you're stuck in the throne room, but then we can look down at the river, kind of pan down at the river, and then looking at the river and doing some, like, magical watery ripply effects. We can, like, sort of use that as your palantir.
Like your transition to your
as your
layer.
palantir.
Be careful
Right?
who's on the other
Oh,
side.
yeah.
Can I just, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically using it as the way that you can, like, look at the whole nation from the, like, top-down view, or you can look at one of these battlefields, or you can look at, you know, look in on one of your keeps or whatever. That's kind of the way that we let you, like, I don't know, it's like astral projection or something.
Yeah.
It's like a way that we just kind of let you, like, jump into these other, you know, these other things.
Yeah.
Um,
We're writing it assuming that might not happen. So like it's an easy way of it's like the ruler just like closes their eyes and like thinks about it. Then he's at the
and like and that would be fine. You know, if we just have to cut to it,
Yeah.
like that's totally fine. So there's also another thing that we've been developing is like the personalities for the chalice itself, right? So we have left chalice, which is the male, and we have right chalice, which is the female. Is that right?
Yes.
No, you're left. Like I wonder, you know. But yeah, it's like yes, the male is on the left, and so do you want to talk about those a little bit, like the two personalities and stuff?
Yeah. Can we talk about like the evolution of their personalities?
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, because actually someone on the Valiant Cheese asked, is the, like, can you talk about the history? And this might tie into what you're about to talk about. Is it man-made? What's the history? What are these personalities that come out in this chalice? So.
We can't talk about that part. We can't talk about that part.
Is that the Lord of the Rings tie-in?
That's a
The
big
Peter Jackson
spoiler.
money?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, then we can't talk about it.
Yeah,
We can't
where
talk about it.
where Weta is gonna make a huge chalice for us, and it's gonna we
Go
can't
for it.
talk about that.
What the chalice is, and like
how it got built and why there are faces in it.
Oh, cool.
But we can't
Like what?
like talking about that really ruins a lot of the like cool lore of the game. So we really don't want to talk about that part.
Sure.
yeah, but like the personalities when we came on, there was already a lot. Like there was a pretty good foundation for what the entire story of the game was, and then for the chalice, it was the male chalice was.
Well, actually, I mean, if you back it all the way up, like, there was not a lot of ideas, right? Like, where the cadence comes from and what the chalice is and all these things. Like, we had some wildly different ideas of, like, what's going on.
Yeah.
And Darth Vader was involved, and there was, I don't know, there were, like, a lot of, like, super crazy ideas about, like, what it could be and what's going on with it and stuff. I don't know. It did take us a while to sort of figure out, oh, okay, I thought we lost you.
Hello?
Okay, we're good. Yeah, it took us a while to get there to the point where we were like, yeah, okay, these are the two characters. This is what we're doing. This is what the cadence is and stuff. Like, we went through a bunch of iterations.
But when we came on, the male chalice was more of a long-winded old man who was like a representation of like the D&D like dungeon master, and like just being a play on the old, like the old man fantasy trope.
Yeah.
But it was kind of generic in that it's like he's an old man who he talks a lot and he doesn't.
He became like a caricature.
Yeah.
Yeah, and which was good for it to start on. And then the female chalice is basically Xena or Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica,
Yeah.
which is a fine archetype.
Yeah.
But since then, we've tried to make male chalice more of a. He's still long-winded, but we try to make him someone who the player would enjoy hearing from, and so
Right.
he does have experience with fighting. He's not like a total pacifist, but
Oh,
Internet connection problem.
oh no. Okay, we're going to call them back.
Wait,
We're just going to do this. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
That ended
was
on a
the-
real cliffhanger, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And then the secret is internet connection failed.
What if LA just got nuked?
Yeah, then we should.
That would be the worst.
I need to get home and get some water then.
Yeah.
I need to grab my
Hello?
weed and-
Hey, we
Hello?
lost you. I think the internet is being temperamental. Is Los Angeles still on the planet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not feeling earthquake yet.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
All right, where did you lose us?
Wait, do you have video?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, weird. Your video is not coming through. Can you see our video?
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess we can't see ourselves.
What is happening?
I don't know, we can just talk.
All right.
Screen options.
Yeah. How do I don't know if I can.
You know what? Turn off video and then turn it back on.
This is ours, though.
Yeah.
Your video is turned off.
Yeah.
Now your video is turned on.
You see us?
No, we can't see you.
Maybe it's buffering the bits.
Oh, I think it's happening now. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it. That's it. Okay.
All right,
So
okay.
it was. Let's see. We got cut off on the male Chalice, making him more likable.
Yeah, but also, have you said that the male Chalice is like in his 60s and 70s and female Chalice is younger?
No, we have not.
Yeah. So that was a big distinction. Female Chalice is like in her 20s or 30s, and so we wanted to make male Chalice just, he is very confident and very assured of himself, but he still likes to, he doesn't charge into battle head on, he'll stay back and try to plan things, whereas the female Chalice, she is more doubtful and like will just charge in battle, it doesn't care and wants to constantly be on the attack just because she knows that they're on a timeline,
Right.
and they need to keep going.
And she's also younger, so she's going to be more brash about her just because even though they're pretty old by the time the game starts, I think we could say that, but they're like, she was frozen. Okay, never mind. Like, she's still young like, in her mind.
Right. Right.
So
Also, another aspect of their personalities that I want to push as much as possible is like having, like, I love this because the male Chalice. Oh, did we lose? Oh no, we just got upgraded. Whoa, we just upgraded you guys to like HD or something. That was awesome. Did you see that?
4K Skype, blowing the mind.
4K Skype. Was their reaction to babies. I thought I love this because like there's a lot of babies in the game, and having the old Chalice, who is like a little stodgier, having him sort of be like a grandpa, like a doting grandfather all of a sudden, and be like really excited about babies, and having the younger woman be sort of like, you know, like she's not ready for kids yet, sort of thing. Which is exactly. Which is awesome, and I like that kind of goes against their sort of standard personality, but it would just be this thing that would pop out of the dialogue and stuff, and be this thing that like surprises people. I think that's really great.
Do you think she'll be telling her grandfather to let it go? Let it go?
Oh my God, you're the
Perhaps?
worst.
Perhaps?
You're the worst. No.
Is she frozen at heart?
You're the worst. Oh man, you said. Oh, that's just really bad. Let's see. Is there anything else? So yeah, I mean, I guess that's sort of like the opening cutscene is the player being created, and it's like you're just waking up, and it's almost like your coronation. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Coronation. Yeah, coronation.
Where everyone is, like, a good majority of the kingdom is just waiting to see what you are and if you'll come through. And yeah, so there are high expectations placed on you.
Like your quinceañera, maybe?
Yeah,
A
and
little more festive.
you're just wearing a great dress.
Yeah, exactly. You feel
Just
pretty.
a really amazing
You
dress.
just feel pretty.
That is a good point, though. We're writing everything. We're trying to keep everything first person so that you feel like you are like the ruler and everything is from your perspective and stuff. But also, the gender of the ruler is ambiguous. So we never refer to you by like gender at all.
Right.
Like it's just always like, you know, you could be whatever you want to be. You know, you can be.
Yeah.
You can imagine yourself as whatever kind of ruler you want to be.
Yep, that's right.
Whatever. It's fine, and we never like mention that, and I think that's like cool. It's also weird, you know. This is something that I think we talked about this when you guys first came on the project. Like I kind of don't like the empty vessel as like a thing, but for whatever reason, like in strategy games, I like really like it. I really hate it in like even first person shooters and like Half-Life sort of bugs me where like. You know, Gordon Freeman doesn't say anything, and it feels weird that like Gordon Freeman's a character and they refer to him as a character, but like and like Master Chief is kind of like that too. And And it's
It's a very Western kind of gameplay style, though, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like Eastern games typically have a
It really
character
is.
that is not you and your.
It really is, and it's weird. Like you know, making games here at Double Fine, it's like you know we try to have strong characters in the game and stuff. That's like a big you know in all of our games. But
Yep.
for whatever reason, it feels really okay to me in it being like a strategy game, like a PC game, like and really you know focused on. I don't know, like I think something about being on the PC, being close to the screen, like makes a lot more sense, and yeah, just the top-down nature of it as well gives it more of that like God game kind of feel, and it just like it just feels really natural to me to keep it first person and keep it as like you know empty vessel as possible.
So Max and Nick, like with what you guys have, empty vessel versus not. I guess Brad, this is a question for you too. Like in that establishing shot, we're still talking about the opening scene. You know, we kind of described it. What was your, like, did you guys have a primary goal? Like, what were you trying to establish before drop-in tutorial, start playing a tactical game, blah, 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 you know?
The main points are just, like, explaining, like, why, like, what you, the player, like, why are you there and what you have to do because, like, and we're trying to get you to, like, playing the game as quickly as possible because that's, like, Brad's, like, demands. And then...
That's right.
But, like, we don't, like, they acknowledge, like, you don't know why there's a chalice in front of you and why it's talking to you. Like doesn't get explained at all, and none of the backstory gets explained in the opening either.
Right.
It doesn't get explained for a while right now.
But also, like the thing we were trying to go for was like going back to the very Kickstarter, just epic and timeline, and how can we make this as interesting and cool as possible, given that it's first person and like we can't like move the camera around or anything. So it's just an interesting problem to have, and we think we're getting close to it.
Yeah,
it's not exactly.
And actually, Derek put together the first scene. We had Melina, one of our producers, helps out almost exclusively on like VO and localization. She lives up in Portland. She recorded some hilarious scratch VO, and then Derek actually put together like an animatic of this like opening. And should we play that thing? I don't know where that is. I wasn't going to, but I feel like it might actually be really good to play it. And since you know what, I'm just gonna go do it. We're just gonna do it.
That's super great.
It's like I mean, I don't know why for whatever reason, and this is something that we can talk about for just 1 minute. Like I am really self-conscious about like the story and the writing of the game. Like that's like I feel like writing in general is something that is. I was talking to my wife about this last night about how like it's such a like anyone can do it, you know? Not anyone can do it well. It's like, but everybody can.
Like Italian cooking.
Everybody can write.
But to do it well is really
to do it well is like really, really tough. And so it's like, I don't even want to make marinara sauce for you, Anthony. Like you're not gonna taste my marinara sauce. I'm not making it for you. You know, like that's exactly how I feel about writing. It's like I don't think I'm good at this. I don't know. You know, but it's so hard to tell like the difference between what's good and what's bad, and I don't know. So it is very different for like me personally, and I think that's why I like working with you guys, and I like getting help on this stuff because like I don't know. And
you know, I feel like I've had to, you know, kind of talk you down from some of your writing concerns early on in the project because, you know, I mean, Tim's not just an on-camera golden sex god, as we've established, but he's also, you know, a pretty damn good writer, right? So it's like, what do I do with that, you know? But Max and Nick have been crushing.
I know where to get this thing.
Oh no.
Hang on.
By the way, Shandersea on the chat channel says, final scene spoiler for the Massive Chalice script. Hedwig busts out of the throne room singing, end of scene.
The owl from Harry Potter?
I think
he means the Angry Inch.
Yeah,
okay, interesting. Yeah,
We did have a ending idea that involved a bird.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's right. There's totally a bird in the ending. Okay, I'm going to do it, but only because, here's why. It needs a lot of work. We've been showing every part of the game when it's terrible.
Yep.
So, like, I think that it's totally okay, and you guys, Max and Nick, you get to feel the pain now as we show stuff that is, like, utterly not ready. But we're gonna do it anyway, all right? Ready? Oh.
It's taking too long.
One of these days you will learn the benefits of patience.
Not likely, especially these days.
That is precisely the kind of attitude that...
Wait, I think we have something. Hi there.
Your ruler has risen. Rejoice and let bellow the horns of birth.
Now that you're here, we can...
Immortal protector of nation name, progeny of the great bloodlines, master of strategies, eternal conductor, and forger of matrimony.
Yes, mustn't forget that one. But I'm sure...
Long may you reign.
Are you finished? Will you grant me the honor of saying something without interruption?
Please continue.
All right then. We, your humble advisors, are glad to...
The horns of
Every
battle.
time. We'll have to do this later. The cadence is attacking. Heroes, jump in. Get in there. The ruler will be with you shortly.
You must have many questions, ruler, such as, who are you? Why are you here? Who are we? What just shot out of our top?
We are in peril. A great evil surrounds our nation called the Cadence, and it has just attacked one of our keeps. We need you to take command because our citizens, understandably I suppose, find it hard to trust a giant talking chalice.
We are not just a giant,
But the kingdom will listen to you because you're of their blood.
forged from the bloodlines of the great houses.
What he said. Got it? Great. Now go get him. All right. Unfortunately, the bloodline ritual that was used to create you forever bound you to us, your cradle.
But do not despair. You can still command your heroes. Look inward, and you will find that your mind can follow them anywhere.
Dude, you know what that male voice is? Almost sounds exactly like. You remember Real Genius when they put the implant in Kent's braces to act like God?
It sounds just like that.
It
Oh my
sounds
god,
exactly
amazing.
like that.
So good. Okay, so we know that like it's too long, there's too much dialogue, like we need to tighten it up, like it's like 2 full minutes.
And it's
So that's
terrifying.
actually Melina doing she just recorded it on her setup, and then she recorded the male lines as well, and then just pitch shifted them down. So I mean, yeah, there are some things definitely like the challenge of trying to. God, I'm like sweating. I'm like. Yeah,
Hey, we got to show the whole.
I know.
Open the kimono, right?
It's just this is it, man. This is game development. It's like your first draft is gonna be bad, and then you just iterate on it, and you iterate on it. It'll get better and better and better, and it's like, yeah, like 2 minutes is too long. Like for sure, we know that. Like we got to cut it down. It seems like there's a lot of fluff in there that we can chop out, and we can tighten it up. And I think that. We had also talked about using the river to show you different imagery so that it's not as static, like having, going to, like showing some of the cadence, maybe showing the nation, showing other things that are going to happen or whatever in the river, using that to break up the kind of like talky, and then just tightening up all the lines, cutting out some stuff, and like, I think it's going to be really good. That horn noise is hilarious. I mean, man.
So one of our artists, Raz, got on the chat. He's like, and that's Allstate stand. Because that's what the male voice sounds like in there, that dude.
Oh, it totally sounds like that.
Kinda,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my God. Amazing. So you guys, what do you think about everything that just happened?
I'm surprised you spoiled our horn of battle joke this
oh,
early.
yeah. No. But see, nobody knows that's a joke yet. Yeah, you just blew it. You just blew it. But yeah, so we're gonna be building on this as like the foundation for it, and I think it's gonna be really good. Also, so I thought we could quickly go through the process that we've been doing. So this over here, this is kind of like the script master that we've been using for the game. So this right here is sort of like every scene in the game is in this column A, and I just kind of went through and wrote down the actual things that we would need, and then when they'll be triggered. Like, so the first time you select a caberjack, there will be a short dialogue scene that plays that you can, it won't interrupt your gameplay or whatever, but it'll just kind of explain to you what a caberjack is and like how it should be used and stuff like that. And then the first time you see an enemy, one of the cadence, they'll explain stuff to you. The first time you kill one, that'll be triggered. So it's just all these like little mini scenes to try to get the pacing right so that you feel like the Chalice is still with you and still kind of like talking to you and like walking you through things and teaching you stuff. So there are a lot of these like one-shot scenes, and if we click on any of these, like they're all tabs in this document. I mean, I don't know if that's like really important, but like just clicking one of these guys will just take you over to that tab, hopefully quickly. And like, yeah, it's just a super short scene. It's just like 3 lines, and we try to get the male Chalice and the female Chalice in there at all times, like talking back and forth, because that really helps us feel like it's one character. You know, it's one character with 2 voices, or it's 2 characters in the same object. I don't know. 2 characters, 1 cup.
Oh God, yes, good analogy.
Right? Yeah. Is there anything like for you guys, like we've tried also to get them to kind of cut each other off, and you totally saw that in like the temp opening cutscene.
Yeah.
Like they cut each other off a lot because they're like they've been together for so long, and they're just like they kind of know how to finish each other's sandwiches, so they're just like always stepping on each other's lines and stuff. And I think that's another great thing that we talked about. We've talked about a lot, and when we talk about VO casting and stuff, is that we want to do. I didn't know the term for this, and you learn something all the time.
Every day.
Ensemble performance, where you get both voice actors, or you get multiple voice actors in the studio at the same time, and they're reading the scenes together, and they're going through stuff together and everything. And we really want to do that with this game, and the voice directors that we talk to, that's like they really recommend that in order to get like a really natural flow between the 2 characters, like making sure that they're both there at all times. And I think that's going to work out really well because you guys are really writing the script so that like there's a lot of back and forth between the 2 characters.
Yeah, and you like if it was recorded separately, but also like if you didn't write it as if like they were together in the same room, you would feel just like the staticness of it all, and just like feel like you'd be writing it as if like this line could be taken out of context anywhere. Like it's not part of a greater whole of them like actually like, interacting with each other and bouncing off each other's whatever they're saying. And yeah.
Yeah, sweet. So yeah, on this document, I don't know if there's anything else. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's like we're just I think there's about 115 something like that. Scenes in the game, and Max and Nick, you guys are just cranking these out for a first draft, and like we're gonna have the whole script for the game written like by the end of next week is the goal, and we'll just be able to iterate on it and get it all like in the game and start hooking it up as scratch dialogue and stuff.
It's gonna be pretty amazing.
Then we start random events.
And then random events. But before we can talk about that a little bit, but before we move on, do you want to take some questions? From the chat.
So
also, geez, I was like,
Schwitzen.
It's just
I
that.
think as you feel that like Tim's gonna walk in and be like, change that.
Yeah, right. It's like that's the thing is that.
And then it's a Max and Nick Tim showdown.
It needs a lot of work, and like showing something like that, like it just makes me very self-conscious. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I think
it's good.
I think because you know what, it's first of all, I think that whole crafting, like the archetypes that we've chosen for those, it's a great starting point. It's going to get refined. Like it's we always have that feeling with stuff we show early on. There is a question, and this is maybe kind of what you're going into, to be honest. Came in from Solar Blitz, our old buddy. This is actually kind of a couple questions, but aren't there dynamic scenarios that need to be scripted? Is dynamic the right word to use for what I'm asking? Like, for example, a marriage occurs and a scenario occurs, based on player decisions. Basically, he's talking about random events. He may not just know that yet.
Yeah. So for the random events, we're just writing like a bucket of generic dialogue that can happen for like positive and negative outcomes and neutral outcomes and outcomes between the 2 where like one might agree and one might not agree and stuff. And we have to write those generically because we want to have so many random events that we can't write custom dialogue for every random event that will be in the game. Like it's just out of scope for it.
Time and money, man.
There are lots of dynamic things that happen though, and we're working on dialogue that is triggered just like while you're playing, like when a hero is killed, like when there's an attack on the strategic map, things that happen all the time. And then we write like a bunch of different scenes that can happen, and it just, it might not play anything, or it might play like one of these scenes randomly of this bucket for like every time you like get a critical hit, there's a scene that can play, and there will be like a dozen little mini kind of things that they can say, and it might play one of those, it might not, and it just feels random. And I hope that is getting at like what he's asking. I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
It's also
oh, what?
For the random events, at least the plan is we'll have a few random events that delve into the backstory that
Yes.
Chalice will comment on.
Yes, and so for the most part, like the kind of standard random events will use that generic bucket of dialogue, but then we have talked about random events being a great way to hint at pieces of the backstory and expose more of that backstory and like the, you know, all the stuff that's kind of going on behind the curtains. And one of the things that's cool about the random events is you might not, it's not like we're going to get to the end of the game and you'll have seen every single random event and then we'll, you know, play the final bit of the story and you'll have seen everything. You know, it's like on subsequent playthroughs, you'll get more snippets of the backstory and it'll be kind of this puzzle that you put together across like multiple playthroughs. And I think that will be very cool. That will be very cool if we can pull it off.
Yeah.
It's a lot of writing though.
Yeah. And it's also been an interesting problem that I think we've solved or gotten really close to solving of how to integrate the random events with the greater narrative.
Right.
And the story in general. And like, we had the meeting today where it sounded like we're on the right track at least. Where
Yes.
like we're very excited about.
Yeah. No. I think
Potential.
it's really good. Actually, that's another thing that that I feel like you guys have really brought to the forefront is trying to, at every opportunity, because you can't see, you never actually see the people of the nation ever, except in the opening. So every opportunity that we can take to emphasize the fact that like there are all these other people in the whole country that you're defending is like really good, and then have the random events influence kind of like the populace's mood. We've also talked about linking sort of like I guess it's like the mood of the people in a given region, linking that to how quickly the corruption grows in that region. So if you make decisions, maybe you'll have to make a random event decision that would like punish one of your heroes or hurt one of your heroes, but the populace might, you know, they might be calling for justice or something, and you actually decide to punish your hero. That might sort of ease the populace's mind. And it's almost like your approval rating as the ruler is the thing that causes corruption to like grow or like speed up or slow down in a given area. And that's really cool. It's sort of like the Ghostbusters 2 ooze.
The best
right?
Ghostbusters made? Is that what you mean?
Yes, right. Yeah, that's what I mean. And like I think that's very cool, and I think that that's a way of getting the like we want to have the corruption growth be more of a gameplay factor. And then if we can tie it into the random events and into like the actual populace, that seems like a really good way of making you actually give a shit about all of the people that you can't see in the nation. And I think that's really cool. Yeah, I hope that we can like continue on that thing.
Cool. So
next question.
Next question. Oh, okay. So you know, we obviously had that scratch VO that we got in there. It's brought up a lot of questions.
Wait, what do you mean? That was that's
sorry,
not scratch VO. No, I mean that's
that crafted VO that we had.
It's so good. I hope Melina watches this and she sees her excellent work on display.
So people are asking, have we thought about voice actors for the cast?
Oh yeah.
And after that gave me the idea to ask them about who they would like to hear. As the voice actors.
So we've had you guys. We've been working on like the casting bios that we will give to like the VO director, and they will then kind of cast a net, and that encompasses like actually maybe we could just show that right now. I mean it's not. Let me see if I can bring it up right now. This is
just don't show the backstory.
Live Google Docs.
So while you're looking that up, Brad, I'd like to show you.
Oh, that's right. It's the backstory is right on the top, right?
Yeah.
Okay, don't screenshot
it.
that. Okay.
See suggested actors.
So yeah, it has like the story, like some backstory about the thing, some art about it, and then like a description of the character, some suggested actors, and then at the end we have like a sample dialogue exchange, which is just that opening cutscene. We just thought we would have them read that opening cutscene, and we would like put it together and test it out and see how we like it. You know? And then the director will just sort of blast that out to a bunch of their contacts, like a bunch of actors that are available, and they'll all read for the part. either like usually at their home studio. I've found. You know, they'll just like record it because they have a setup, and they'll just like quickly record those lines and submit them to the casting director. They'll pass them on to us, and then we'll do a bunch of like blind listens of all of the reads, and then just kind of like pick the one that we like the best, and then hopefully that person's available and we can like get it together. With this one, the suggestion has been to actually do like a very brief ensemble test session where we make sure the chemistry is good between these two actors, because we're going to put them in a booth together for like 4 hours. We want to make sure that they like each other and they work very well together, and that like we're happy with all that stuff before we like, you know, sign them and give them monies and get them in there. Yeah.
So to help you guys,
what was the actual question? I feel like I just went off on a crazy tangent. Oh yeah, so you guys developed the casting bios. So who do you think for the male Chalice? Who would you go with?
My number one is Brian Cox.
Okay, Brian Cox. I don't know if we'll be able to get Brian Cox, but that would be sweet.
He's a pretty penny. He's a pretty penny. I'll say that. I'll say that.
Well, our more reasonable one we would like was Renee Auberjonois, who you may remember from Uncharted 2 as the old man in the Himalayas.
Also, wait, isn't he Odo from
Trek?
Deep Space Nine?
Deep Space Nine.
And he's got kind of like a really awesome, like dignified old guy voice at this point, which is like super, super cool.
Is he like a heavy smoker, or did he just have that voice?
I don't know.
I
don't know. But his voice is very cool. I think he would be very good. I liked Charles Dance, but see, that's the thing. Who plays Tywin Lannister on Game of Thrones, but not a dick.
He, more importantly, plays the mad scientist in Howard the Duck. No, he doesn't. That's not him.
All right.
He's not Sodom Numspa from The Golden Child. Remember? Sodom
Is he
Numspa.
really? Wow.
Yeah. Brother Numsy.
That's awesome.
Anyway.
That's awesome. But I love that guy, and I think that if you could take him and make him not a dick, I think that would be really good.
That's kind of his calling card, though. He's always a dick, right?
But like, I think it's cool. I think it's actually cool when, you know, you flex the actor's range and they're not just like being themselves, you know, in the role. Like, I think that's, you know, it's like they are playing a character, and it's like very obvious that they are playing a character, because all of these actors have a lot of range. Yeah, it kind of bums me out when an actor gets pigeonholed, and then it's just like, oh yeah, get that guy.
Yeah, that's what
that guy that does that thing, and then you just put him in there. Yeah, I just want him to do the same thing, but in our thing. You know, it's like the Peter Dinklage in Destiny.
Right.
It's like they just wanted Peter Dinklage, and they just jam Peter Dinklage in there, and then you get that wizard
from the moon. Does Peter Dinklage really have, like, has he established himself as being like, does he doesn't have like a character that he always plays?
I guess maybe he doesn't.
I mean, he was pretty different. Think of Elf. He was really different in that.
Yeah, that's
He's
true.
got the other thing that he did.
I love his character in Elf.
It's more like, you know who's really kind of getting in that rut is what's his face? Ari Gold. That actor, I feel.
Who's that guy?
You know,
I'm so bad at this game, by the way. That's the other reason why we hired you guys.
From Entourage.
Jeremy Piven.
Thank you. I couldn't think of his name. By the way, all of your guys' suggestions don't matter because the chat came up with some badass suggestions.
Yes. Okay, awesome. Let's
for some actors.
Lay it on us.
So first of all, Magnus and Tactus came up with two that's really good. The Chalice has to be voiced by Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sandal Bergman. Or female Chalice could be Sean Connery.
Yeah, all right.
Black Knight 12 offers.
He retired.
Yeah. All right, we can bring him out.
He'll come out of retirement just for this, I guess.
Yeah. Black Knight 12 offers up Optimus Prime. He just says Optimus Prime.
Just not actually,
period.
Not the actor that played Optimus Prime, but just Optimus Prime himself.
A very just Chalice, you know, always fighting for the. Dear Beer Kaiser says Gary Oldman. That could be awesome.
Gary Oldman can do anything. What do you think about Gary Oldman? I mean,
he knows how to do video games.
Yeah, he'd be awesome. I'm sure that we can afford Gary Oldman. Let's just get Gary Oldman.
There's a couple more, and they just get better from here. Shandersey says the female Chalice could be the medic voiceover from the StarCraft games. That's kind of got that computer feel to it. $1 Williams says Ron Perlman. I think he's come up before. You can't go wrong with Ron.
I would be fine with Ron Perlman, actually.
Yes.
I would, yeah. Again.
I don't know which of these pairs are my favorites, but the final two pairs are, one is from Dirty Feet 33, says Chris Rock and Melissa McCarthy. That would be kind of rad.
Jeez. All right.
And then Morgan Freeman and Roseanne Barr is the last one.
Morgan Freeman as the male Chalice would be kind of amazing.
Paul Newman, if he was still alive.
Paul
Man,
Newman would
Paul
be
Newman.
dope.
Amazing. Yeah, so we have plenty. Oh, and then then the female your guys' suggestions for the female Chalice.
That you really want Laura Bailey. I really want who's more a voiceover actress. We just played Infamous Second Son, and she plays the
Fetch.
Yeah, Fetch, and she's really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then looked up her like reel on YouTube, and it was insane.
That's really good. Yeah, it's really, really good.
We didn't say Katie Sackhoff because she's done this role, and we don't need.
Yeah. Because we never really talked about. We talked about how the male Chalice has evolved. The female Chalice, not as much. Like we've kind of just kept that more like I don't know, brazen. Like
she's had like subtle changes, like being like between becoming like compassionate and being just like tough.
Right.
Just like changing up how like her motivations are.
And then some stuff with her backstory that we can't talk about, but it shades her character.
Right. Right, but that one has really kind of stayed similar to like the more headstrong, rushing into battle, like being the more more aggressive of the two, and like that's totally fine.
We just try to stay away from it being too obvious or stereotypical.
Right.
Hopefully, it won't be that way.
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Nice.
Other questions? That we
There's a few more. I feel like they're pretty apropos to what we're talking about. Oh, are you thinking about more voice acting than just the Chalices? We've talked about this, but we should maybe talk about that with the fans.
No, we have not.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've thought of it. We talked about it.
Right, but we
I
decided
have
to focus
that.
on.
But we decided just like, to scope it, just having like two that's it, The real talk was like, could we, it doesn't really make as much sense for the enemy faction, for like the Cadence at all, just because they're kind of monstery and weird and abstract
What is their language?
and whatever.
Yeah, right.
I don't, it's like let's not worry about that. And so we looked at like for the heroes, like could we actually do VO for the heroes? The problem is that like you have to have a ton of different voice actors, right? So that like they don't all sound like a bunch of clones. So you probably have to have a minimum, I would say, 8 different male actors and 8 different female actors that then get randomly assigned to the heroes, like different VO sets. And then you also like the dialogue that they're saying is on the tactical battlefield, and you have to write a ton of stuff so that like every time they kill an enemy, they say something or have a chance to say something.
Sure.
You don't want that dialogue to become super, super, super repetitive. And so now you're talking about like every time you kill an enemy, you want to have, I don't know, a dozen lines. And then that gets multiplied by the 20 actors. Did I say? No, I think I said 8.
Yeah.
By the 16 actors, because you have that line that's going to be read by 8 men and 8 women.
Right.
And then you also want to multiply it by, in order to really do it justice, you want to have 8 and 8 is not correct. It's actually 8, 8, and 8 times 2, because you want young, prime, and old dialogue, right? You would want to have younger men read, and then like 30s-ish, 40s-ish men read, and then old men read,
Right.
and then the same thing for women. So you have those like 6 buckets that you need 8 actors each, and then for every line. It's just crazy. Like the Matrix blows up.
Yeah.
Like and it just becomes like a huge cost sink. And the dialogue gets so repetitive anyway. Like playing new XCOM, I think they did a really good job of trying to address this, but still you hear the same lines. If you're on your like 4th playthrough, you just kind of want to turn the dialogue off because you're just hearing the same lines all the time. There's the like, no way that just happened, like when they miss or whatever. You hear that all the time.
I still feel like a great,
and it just gets like
yeah.
repetitive and stuff. It's just a really tall order for a small scope of game to like make sure that it's really good and that it doesn't grind on people,
And a lot of people are asking, well, why not just pitch shift? Well, I think from our little VO sample,
why
we've
not,
shown that
why not
pitch
pitch
shifting
shift?
ain't the way to go.
I think that you heard a great example of why you
know,
don't
it'd be a
pitch shift.
sweet like PR grassroots campaign for this. Is just like go up on the street with 2-player and a camera and be like, hey stranger, say this line.
Yeah.
And he's like,
oh,
fuck
man,
off.
That's
but like,
hilarious.
and he could be really telling you to go jam it.
We actually discussed that, like when we were getting the Kickstarter tiers in order and stuff. We talked about having one of the higher tiers be to like record record a dialogue set for a hero, and then we would actually have backers like sending in like these full dialogue sets and stuff. The problem with that is that like everybody's recording conditions are completely different, and it just creates this like it's just really terrible like variance in quality, and it was just like we can't do that. I don't know. And then also it's like, what if people are really bad actors? Like then you just have really bad acting in your video game because you know it's like that just seems like a real bummer. You know, some people like for sure there would be people that would be excellent actors that would put in a ridiculously awesome performance, and they would have like a near pro level of like recording equipment, and it would just be like, oh my god, that's amazing, going in, yeah. But then there would be some guy that recorded with a tin can and like you know like whatever, did cold reads of the lines and sent them to us, and we'd be like, oh my god, like we have to put this in the game now. Yeah, it would be so bad. Yeah, it'd be so bad. I think that we made the right call by like not just not addressing that. We're gonna try to do vocalizations for the young, medium, old, male and female. Kind of like grunts and like when they get hit and when they die and things. So that no words. So we can do it with it because it's not like technically acting when you just put sound effects in there that were made by a human. So no words, but there will be vocalizations in there for those like age groups and stuff, like really, really simple stuff that hopefully makes them feel a little bit more human, you know? Like we'll see where that ends up, but I mean the individual dialogue for heroes is such a crazy rabbit hole that we just decided to stay away from it.
Cool. Just one last question from our old friend Smiles.
Smiles, hey Smiles! Can
you share, and this may not be, the guys may not have gotten to this yet, but kind of off topic from the opening chat. Can you share any interesting item names that Nick and Max may have come up with?
We haven't started that yet.
Yeah.
We came up with one for the application. And then we come up with the enemy names or ideas. For the enemy names.
Yeah, that's right. So we talked about this a little bit, the enemy names, and this is like a cool thing. Like we're talking about where their names will be names that the heroes have given them, and really like the idea of like in like World War II and like Vietnam and like a lot of war settings, like the soldiers will give slang names to the enemy that they'll use to refer to either like a single enemy or like a group of enemies or whatever. They'll just give it a name. And it's
like
usually
game did that too.
It's usually very derogatory and I don't know, weird. But we were like what if we could do a fantasy version of that? And so you guys have been brainstorming names, and the one that we like the best is for the time killer guy. He's like the decay cadence that ages you when he hits you in melee combat. They would call them wrinklers. And I totally love this.
That's awesome.
Like, it's so awesome that they're, it's like it wouldn't make sense at first when you kind of like encounter them, but then when they're like aging your heroes, you'd be like, oh shit, that actually makes sense and whatever. So that's kind of what we're going for the other ones. And I don't know, we have some other ones that are kind of gross that we're working on.
Those are fun sessions.
Yeah, it's awesome to just brainstorm like crazy stuff. You know what? We should throw all that stuff on the forums and just get people throwing out suggestions and stuff, because I think it's a really good place where just anybody can just throw out like crazy stuff, but just having it be something that, like, I like Wrinkler a lot because it's a name that the heroes would give the enemies, but it's also something that doesn't feel like modern or near modern war kind of thing. We had one that was for the Bone Shell guy. It was Shelby, calling him Shelby, but that feels just like Charlie or Fritz or like those kind. It feels like more modern. So we're like, no. And then that's right, we put Sir Shelby. What about Sir Shelby? He's knighted. But that's terrible. Yeah. We don't put terrible things in the video game, or else we try not to.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's like, we're still having brainstorming about that, and then once the dialogue is kind of like locked, we're going to be refining it. Then we're going to hit the random events really hard and try to get as many of those kind of in the game as possible. And then after that, it's like naming all of the things. like naming all of the things and writing descriptions. Those are kind of like the last things that can be done, because there's no dependencies on them. Like, all of the names have to be solid, because a lot of the names work their way into the dialogue, and we need to make sure that like all that stuff is totally taken care of before we like move on. But those things at the end, like the item descriptions and some of the like precise random event text and things like that, can kind of like, they can wait to the last minute. I almost just said that. They can wait to the last minute. You know, no big deal.
This is why you give me gray hairs, Brad.
I know. That's yeah. I'm saying this.
I got wrinkles.
I'm saying this to the. Yeah, I'm the wrinkler.
You're my wrinkler.
Yeah, Anthony refers to me as the wrinkler. That's gross. Yeah. Yeah. So we're still working on those names and trying to make them not gross, but it's going well. Cool.
I like it. That's That's
okay.
Pretty much all the.
Okay, awesome. That was about it for questions. That's fantastic.
You know what? Here's one. It came in really good. It's kind of a cool, quickie one. True Story Guy asks, can a random event kill one of your heroes?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right? Dropping the hammer, Folkman style.
Absolutely. One of your heroes can get killed in a random event.
Because the Folkmans are actually cold-blooded killers.
I know, yeah,
Don't
that's the
mess
thing.
Around.
All the time, they're like, can we neuter this hero? That's what they asked me the other day.
George R.R. Martin is too tangy.
You're like,
that's right.
We write in Tandy Dogs.
We got some good advice from him last time though.
Yeah,
so I think that we're gonna be really, really harsh. Just deleting an entire bloodline. Like there you go. Boom.
Yeah, exactly. Erased. And it actually erases the save data and everybody else's bloodline.
Yes.
That's brutal.
You're
Brutal.
going to see every backer's bloodline in one game session.
That'd be great.
Okay, cool. Hey, thanks for joining us on this thing.
Thank you for having
This is
us.
super cool. And we're gonna I know that we did not like play the game, but our next team stream, we're definitely gonna be really digging into some of the new features. Like where the game is kind of in this weird state where a lot of different things are kind of coming in right now at the same time, and we haven't really had a chance to test them. So it's sort of a weird time to show the game. But I promise you, we're still working on it. It's not. Yeah, we're totally working on it, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We're totally working on it. It's awesome. And next team stream, we're going to be like just totally going through it. We've also talked about having Trifon and White, the musicians that we're contracting with, coming in. They're actually local, so they'll like be on the couch. We'll kind of talk to them about the music process and stuff, and then we'll really dig into the game and show you guys all the new features and all that stuff. That'll be Team Stream 23 coming in a couple weeks.
Traces.
Yeah. Oh, another thing, other housekeeping items. We're cutting off Bloodline Slacker backer access. So that's like the $100 tier that's on massivechalice.com/back.
Yep.
You can go there, get your Bloodline in the game. We're cutting that off on July 18th, so that's like is that less than a month away? What day is it? It is less than a month away.
Less than a month. Yeah.
So we're gonna slice that off July 18th. You won't be able to back at that level anymore. So if you want to do it, please let us know and please do that. That would be great. And then the end of July is gonna be the cutoff date for getting your Bloodline like submitted to us through the tool and all that stuff. I think that's about it. Do we have any other? Oh, Broken Age came out on the iPad. You should totally check it out on the iPad. Yeah. It's really awesome on the iPad. That's cool.
That is awesome. And 31st, Bloodlines due.
Oh, right. I actually just said that a moment ago.
I was paying attention to the chat.
Yeah,
I tested you, Brad. You passed.
The end of July. That is when we're going to cut that thing off. If you've submitted, so if you have any questions, if you haven't gotten your email, just email support@doublefine.com. We'll get that straightened out. Check your spam folders, it might have ended up in there, but we'll get that sorted out. And if you have any problems with that process, we're trying to get through those as fast as we can. Yeah. But
I think we should really start doing like
take some time.
And I could do this too, like on the blog, on the team streams. We should like get a rally going of our favorite sigils and just show them up here because like there are some badass.
We put one in the update. Yeah. I have no idea. I wish I had that guy's name off the top of my head.
I wish I knew too.
But whoever submitted that one, he actually did an eagle in perspective. I didn't think that was even possible. It kind of blew Derek's mind, but it's just a really, really awesome job of like taking those, those flat symbols and making something that like kind of looks 3D out of it. It's really awesome. So that's been great. Like the amount of creativity that we're seeing in those submissions is like really through the roof. So thanks for helping us flesh the game out that way. It's going to be really cool once we scrape all those in the game and get them in there.
It'll be awesome.
So I think that's it. Max, Nick, thank you guys.
I have one last
Yes,
thought.
go.
Thanks to this live stream, I'm going to spend like the next day trying to think of ways to put B mounts into random events.
Damn it.
Do not put a B mount in the random event
Can
unless
bards
it's like
ride
dead.
them?
There's
Bards
no bards. Jeez. All right.
Just with their big shofar riding in.
Bards were part of our application.
I know they were, but we don't talk about bards on this show. All right. No bards.
Okay.
No bards. Okay. So yeah, I think that's about it. I think we're getting out of here.
Let's do it.
I think we're getting out of here. So Massive Chalice Teamstream 23 in a couple weeks. We'll be talking with the musicians, so bring any questions for them. And yeah, we'll be showing a lot of the game. A lot of new things have been flying in. It's going to be totally sweet. So thanks for the support. We'll see you in a couple weeks. All right, bye.
Later, dudes. Bye, Max and Nick.
Bye.
See you.